for my final project, I decided to do the digital history on my grandmother. Um, I uploaded this video to YouTube, and for this process, I did a digital oral history, so you can hear I went through the process of
Writer George Eliot once said,
making an
"Life
introduction. I then had interviews with my
just
grandmother.
being by myself and seeing the nature, it just made me happy at that moment."
I also decided to add some music. So since she talks a lot about Puerto Rico and being from Puerto Rico, I added a little salsa background to it just so that it wouldn't be, too choir, too just my grandmother's voice. I felt like, or my voice, or like the other people that I interviewed voices. I thought that would be not as interesting, and I think it adds to the history of my grandmother.
What was your life like before you came to the States?
So I asked her various questions about her life in Puerto Rico, her life over here, and like things that she would like to tell to her future family members or her legacy. I added all these pictures of her from when she was younger, um, her family, and it was really interesting to see all of this and go through and listen to her history. But I also decided to interview her three kids, which are these three right here, and hear what they had to say about their mother. And after everything that they heard that I interviewed with my grandmother, what they thought about that and their input on what their mother has taught them, and all of basically the history of my grandmother, what she's been through, and how she's overcome the things.
So, as a person, I've seen my mom through many life changes, right? Each decade brings something new. She was a teen mom, didn't have much opportunity.
So after all of this, I decided to wrap it up with my own conclusion, tying everything together.
Because that
and
one
I
may
decided
face.
to
My grandmother has chosen to pass her legacy onto her family.
I decided
While
to
my
add this
grandmother
picture of
may
her
hope
entire
that we
family
carry
to
on
wrap
her words
everything
of
up and say
advice,
basically
we, her
how
family,
our
only
family
hope
has
that she
grown
knows
from
how
her
much we strive
and
to
how
be
big
and
and
live like
beautiful
her.
it has become. So I decided to use iMovie to add the pictures and stuff. Um, you can see this right here. I used all of this. And for the documentary, I used a sound editing tool to put it all together. I found some basic tracks online for the background music. And once I got through the sound editing, which was really hard because, in all honesty, that might have been the hardest part because it's hard to make sure what you want to put together and make sure the music is not loud enough and all that. But adding the pictures and all of the other stuff was actually really simple because you just put it where you would like to, where it correlates with the sound. And that was honestly the easiest part to do. Like scanning pictures, I scanned a bunch of pictures onto my computer from my printer because it's a scanner. And in the classroom, I would definitely use this. I mean, I want to be a literature teacher, so this would be really cool to do the history of Shakespeare and do a digital history of Shakespeare, or even to do a digital history of a character in a book. So we can make them seem like they're alive, and it'll actually help the students recognize what's behind the character, what their motivations are. And I think that's a really interesting way of basically helping students do more, I guess, critical thinking and add pictures of what they think the person would be like, and understand why it's important to know all of these attributes to a character before fully delving into a book. Because if you don't really understand the dynamics or characteristics of a specific character, especially a main character, it's really hard to understand the book or the story. So that is my project.